بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We are discussing the topic of slavery. And initially today I was going to speak about economic slavery, but I've changed my mind and I'm going to talk about political slavery, and then after that, next week I'll speak about economic slavery and then physical slavery, etc. And I want to start by reciting chapter 17, verse 70, which is وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِّمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا تَفْضِيلًا. And surely we honored the whole of humanity, and we carry them in the land and the sea, and we provide them with good things, and we have made them to excel highly most of those whom we have created. This is the last verse of the section 7 of chapter 17, which is called Bani Israel. I want to read out 2 other verses of the Holy Quran, but I will not. I will just read the Arabic and not the. I'll just read the English. I mean, not the Arabic. And Allah commands you to make over trusts to those worthy of them, and that when you judge between people, you judge with justice. Surely Allah admonishes you with what is excellent. Surely Allah is ever hearing and ever seeing. But the partner, I thought I'd switch my phone off. Verse 59, O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the messenger and those in authority from among you. Then if you disagree about anything, refer it to Allah and the messenger. If you believe in Allah and the last day, this is the best and the more suitable to achieve the end. So in these verses, the first one, it says, surely we honored the whole of humanity. We honored children of Adam, it says. It doesn't say, I honored Muslims or Christians or Hindus or Israelites. It doesn't say, I honored Saudis or Pakistanis or Americans or whatever. God honors all children of Adam, regardless of their religion, regardless of their color, regardless of their creed, regardless of their caste. And that shows that in Islam, all humans are equal. And the Holy Prophet referred to this in his final sermon when he said that the Arab is not superior to the non-Arab, and the non-Arab is not superior to the Arab, and the black is not superior to the white, and the white is not superior to the black. This was an explanation of this verse of the Holy Quran, that Allah honors all men, all children of Adam, the whole of humanity. Elsewhere, the Holy Quran says that righteousness is not whether you turn your face this way or that way, but righteousness is that you help the needy and the poor and so on. So that is the first thing that Islam starts off with, that all human beings are equal. And then it lays down the foundations of a political order. In the next verse that I recited, Allah commands you to make over your trusts to those who are worthy of them. And the greatest trust that you can hand over to someone is the right to rule you, the right to govern you. That is the greatest trust that you can put in anyone's hand. And it is sad that when people vote for something, they say, oh, I'll vote for this political party because we've been doing that since my grandfather's time, or because he's my neighbor. He may be a complete crook, but he's my neighbor, so I'll vote for him. But what is Allah's condition? That the person should be worthy of your trust. And then having done that, it then says that you obey Allah. This is the order. First you obey Allah. No one can give you an order against what God has said. God says, help the poor. Read Surah Maun. Have you seen those who belie religion? Who negate it, who neglect it? Who are these? These are the ones who don't look after the orphans, the needy, the poor. And then, next in line, if something is not clear to you, you obey the messenger. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then, obviously, because as the word develops, people need guidance on new things. So you turn to those in authority among you. And these are the ones that you chose. These are the people that you selected. And then again, there is a hierarchy in the same way as in any society, in any system. In Britain, if you go to, the county court and there's a decision against you, and you think it's unfair, you go to the High Court, and the High Court gives a decision. And if you're still not happy, you can go to the Supreme Court, and so on. But eventually there is an end. So here is a hierarchy that is set up. But by saying that all humans are equal, and telling people that they should hand over their trusts to those who are worthy of them, Islam is granting political rights to everyone. Every single person, regardless of their color, regardless of their creed, regardless of their religion, regardless of their whatever. And these basic rights, right to life, it's expressly enshrined in the Holy Quran. You're forbidden to kill anyone. The only exception is that if it's justly decided that they've killed someone. Freedom from torture. You're not allowed to torture anyone to get them to admit anything. Freedom of belief. La ikraha fid deen. There is no compulsion in religion. Why? Because it's obvious. The right way and the wrong way, they're obvious. The sat-nav tells you go straight on, you want to turn right. No one can stop you. But there is no compulsion in believing anything, and there is no compulsion that you should not preach or propagate your beliefs and your views. You don't have to accept them. You can counter them with logic and rationality and argument. not beat them up and put them in prison, as happens in some countries, and many other freedoms which are enshrined in the Human Rights Act. But one important one is the right to justice. And God says, Allah commands you to make over your trusts to those worthy of them, and that when you judge between people, you judge with justice. And I want to see whether this is happening in some countries. And that is very important, because Hazrat Ali said that a people, a nation, can put up with starvation, with hardship, but what they cannot put up with is injustice. It wasn't until around 1700s that in the Western civilization, the first philosopher who came up with a similar theory was called John Locke. He said, all men are born equally free. God says, surely we have honored the children of Adam. And Hazrat Umar, there was some incident, I don't remember the details, but he once beat a governor. And his fault, Hazrat Umar said, men or people are born free out of their mother's womb. Who are you to restrict their freedoms? Who are you to say, I'm too high and mighty, you can't come into my house? But it was John Locke in early 1700s, 1100 years after Islam. All men are born equally free and independent. And have certain inherent natural rights of which they cannot by any compact deprive or divest their posterity, among which are the enjoyment of life and liberty, with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. This was said in the West 1100 years after Islam. But the sad thing is that whereas the West went about making sure that these things are actually implemented, they're not fully implemented. Even after 400-500 years of John Locke saying that, they're not fully implemented. Their implementation is defective. But this was recognized and people started working on it. The next thing, of course, was that what John Locke said was actually the basis of the United States Declaration of Independence. And in that, it started off by saying, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. What did God say? I honor all children of Adam. What did the Holy Prophet say? Black is not superior to white, and the white is not superior to black, and the Arab is not superior to non-Arab, and the non-Arab is not superior to Arab. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. What did the verses that I just recited to you say? This is just a summary. In a short 20-minute or whatever minute sermon, I couldn't read out all the verses of the Holy Quran. I couldn't read out all the ahadiths. I couldn't read out the actions of the companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, radiallahu ta'ala, anhum, which underscored these points. I just gave one or two examples. But what is amazing is that the Declaration of Independence starts with the words, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are equal, all men are created equal." And yet, you had slavery in the United States. You had slavery. So this was just words. How could you have slavery when all men are created equal and this is a self-evident truth? The Creator endowed them with rights, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Do you think that a slave who was beaten all day and had to work out in some field, in some cotton field in Texas, without food and water, was happy? That his life wasn't in danger? The ideas were borrowed from Islam. But then, and we do the same thing. Muslims do exactly the same thing. The Holy Quran says this. Yes, it does. I think the obvious example is someone said to me, "Oh, the Holy Quran allows widows and divorced women to remarry. Many other religions don't." So I said to him, "Oh, that's very nice to hear. You have a son. You're looking for a wife for him. I know some widows and I know some divorced women. Shall I arrange a match for your son with this one of them?" And the man recoiled in horror. So what's the point of telling me this beautiful story? What's the point of writing something down on a piece of paper and not actually in practice giving that right to the person? What's the point of saying all men are created equal and then allowing slavery? It wasn't until the cases of Brahman Bet versus John Ashley and Commonwealth versus Nathaniel Jennison that argued that slavery is not compatible with this statement. And it was much later that the 13th Amendment to the US Constitution abolished slavery. But what it said was that slavery and involuntary servitude are abolished except as a punishment for a crime. And where do you find most black people? A lot of black people. Look at the prison population. Look at the percentage of black people in the population and look at the percentage of black people in prisons. Look at the percentage of black people in the population in the UK and look at the number of black people who are stopped and searched by the police. You are 10 times more likely to be stopped and searched by the police if you're black or brown. So what's the point of saying all men are equal? But the point is this, that certainly in the UK, they endeavor and try to make improvements, to confront their failings. But in many countries, people refuse to actually recognize their weaknesses, let alone face them. And historically, black folks were disenfranchised in the US, and includes everything from Jim Crow to the war on drugs targeting black communities. Why do you have more policing black neighborhoods than white neighborhoods? And we move forward. 13th Amendment is passed. Laddus are distributed and jalebis. They're singing and dancing in the streets. You no longer have slavery. And we move forward to 1989, when Anton McRae, Kevin Richardson, Raymond Santana, Corey Wise, and Yusuf Salam are beaten. Beaten to do what? To admit to raping a white girl. They're sentenced to imprisonment between 6 and 13 years. They serve their term. And then a man is arrested who admits to that rape. DNA tests are done, and it is found that it's his DNA on the woman's clothes. It's his DNA. Did anyone apologize to them, to these 5 people? Or the poor Irish people in Birmingham who were falsely accused and charged and sentenced with a bombing because the police had to catch someone. They were under pressure from the government. Let's move on. 1992. We have riots in Los Angeles. Why? Because Rodney King, a black American, is lying on the pavement and is kicked to death by 4 policemen. There is video evidence of that. They are arrested, they are put on trial. They are tried by an all-white jury. And what does this all-white jury find? They are not guilty. Elsewhere in the Holy Quran, there is a verse saying, let not the hatred of a people make you act inequitably towards them. How clearly that applies there. And that, of course, led to riots. If the principle of Roman law is that black, why were they all white? If the answer to that is that they were white policemen, then why is it that when black people are charged and tried, you don't have an all-black jury? Why are there still all-white juries? What about these 5 people that I spoke about earlier, who were in 1989 in New York? Why did they have an all-white jury? The reason is obvious. Let's wind forward. 2014, Ferguson, Missouri. A black teenager, Michael Brown, is shot dead by a white police officer, and there are riots. And we want to talk about slavery. You see, these actions are no different to the actions of the slave masters. On paper, you said, oh, you're free. But if you come out of your house, we'll shoot you. It's like these people were given the right to vote. And then a condition was added that a voter he mustn't be illiterate. So a white person would go in and they'll get a book which says A for apple, B for banana, C for cherries, and so on. And he'd look at it and he'd read it and they'd say, fine. Yep, you're not illiterate, you're literate, you can vote. Next to him is a black person. He goes in. And he's given something to read. And he's given this extract from John Locke. All men are born equally free and independent, and they have certain inherent natural rights and so on. One, even if he can read it, he is then asked to explain that. And if he can't, he's told he is illiterate, so he can't do it. And the surprising thing is that people who practice these things up to this day, they practice these things up to this day, and they accuse Islam of certain things. You can accuse Muslims, just like the law books and the constitutions all use fine words of equality. But the politicians and the people betray them. It's the same with Islam. The beautiful, the golden words of Islam have been betrayed by us Muslims. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim innahu ta'ala jamaatun kareemun malikun barrun rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma ansur man nasara dina Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة قامت الصلاة Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin Ar-Rahmanir Rahim مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أستغفر الله. اللهم تبارك. Thank you for joining us for our Friday service. I pray that until we meet again, Allah keeps all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Please, in your prayers, remember all the sick and the needy, etc. Our senior vice president who's ill with lung cancer, he needs your prayer. Our sister Amtul in Malaysia, she needs our prayers. And everyone else who's unwell or having any kind of difficulty, please pray for them, regardless of what their color, creed, religion, sect might be. With that, I take my leave of you. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye. Just to say, our next broadcast will be Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, which is the call of the Messiah.